We're continuing from question 8 or example 8 from the simple interest workbook. Now just remembering that when you borrow money, so Jerry paid back $12,080 on a $9,000 loan over 3 years. So what's happened here is that Jerry has borrowed $9,000. When you borrow money from the bank, you have to pay that money back, plus you pay them interest. Okay, they're not going to lend you the money for nothing. So interest works two ways. If you put money into the bank pays you interest because you've given them your money. That money doesn't just sit in the bank, they use it for other things, okay? So if you put money into the bank, you're often paid interest. So you'll have your money plus the interest that they pay you. But if you borrow money from the bank, you've got to pay that money back, plus you've got to pay them a fee for lending you money. That's the interest that you pay them back. So in this example here, Jerry has paid back $12,080 on a $9,000 loan. Anything over the $9,000 that he pays back, or her, is interest. So the interest will be, how would I work it out? 12,080 minus 9,000, which is $3,080 interest. You might think that's a lot of interest. Maybe the interest rate is fairly high, okay? So even though this person borrowed $9,000 over 3 years, it's taking them 3 years to pay it back, they're paying back $12,080 to the bank, so they've paid the $9,000 plus the extra, anything extra that they pay is interest. So now we have to work out the annual interest rate. With the question so far, this is simple interest, and the simple interest formula is I equals PRN. So always write that out. And then I'm going to go IPRN on the side and work out, let me just write down what information I have in the question. So do we know the interest here? What is it? 3,080. What about the principal? How much is he borrowing? 9,000. The question is to find the annual rate of interest. That's my question mark. I don't know what the rate is. And N is 3 years. Now, because N is 3 years, when I use this equation, the interest rate will come out in years. So let's substitute. 3,080 equals 9,000 times R times N. Let's look at the right-hand side. It doesn't matter which order you multiply numbers in. I can do 9,000 times 3, which is 27,000 times R is 3,080. And how do I find R? Divide or multiply? Divide, because it's R times 27,000. The opposite of timesing by 27,000 is to divide by 20,000. And when you end up with this answer, whenever we use the simple interest formula, R is a decimal. So whatever answer I get here, it's a decimal. We then have to convert it to a percentage. So what do we get here, girls? It's a pretty high in. 0.1, etc. Leave it. How do I change that to a percentage? Times, so what have I got? 0.11407 ... Changing it to a percentage. Anyone know how to change it to a percentage? Times it by 100 and you get 11.407 ... percent. I'm just going to do it to say, I'll just leave it like that. What was the number after the 7? 44, etc. If you want to convert it to a percentage, you times by 100%. But you don't put the percentage button into your calculator. So if I work out what 11.4074% is, isn't that 11.4074 over 100? You know, like when we were putting 8%, wouldn't we write 8 over 100? So that's the decimal, 0.11, is actually 11.4074%. You know, isn't 0.5 50%? A half? Here is another person borrowing money for a car. So Diane borrowed $15,000 to buy a used car. Girls, no one's going to pay the money back in one go, okay? She's taking 48 months, or how many years is that? 4 years, and she pays back $487.50 each month. So what would be your first reaction? What do you think you should work out? What's the natural question to ask? If she's paying that back every month for 48 months, what do you think you should do? So the total repayments is $487.50 times 48, because she's paying back $487.50 a month for 48 months. And what do you get? How many thousands of dollars? Exactly. $23,400. So you say, yep, she's paid that much back. What did she borrow? $15,000. What did she pay back? $23,400. She's obviously, she's obviously paid a lot of interest. How much interest? So she's of course got to pay the $15,000 back, but she'll also pay more. And the extra that she paid is called the interest, and it's $23,400 minus $15,000, which is $8,400. So the question is saying find the annual simple interest rate on the loan. It's asking me to find the interest. What's the formula for interest? I equals PRN. We then go over the side and we write down what we've got. So I is, P is, R is, N is. Okay, what have we got, girls? What's I? What's the principal? The principal is the amount that you borrow. You know what? Look at those two numbers. You're borrowing $15,000. You're paying $8,400 in interest. That's more than half of what you borrowed. Do you see that? That's a lot to be paying back. The interest rate, that's what we're being asked for. N, girls. Well, it's 48 months, but they want the annual simple interest rate. They want the rate per annum. So my N needs to be per annum, which is 48 divided by 12. It's 4 years. Do you understand why? So R and N have to match. They have to be in the same units. Because you want the annual interest rate, that means per year, your N, your time periods need to be in years and they need to match. All right? If I put 48 in for N, I'm going to get the monthly interest rate. So if I put 48 months, if N is in months, R will be in months. Okay? So let's go. So I is PRN, so the interest is 8,400, is 15,000 times R times 4. What should I do? I should times the 15,000 with the 4. And what do I get? 60,000 times R. So are we multiplying or dividing? So R will be 8,400 over 60,000. Wouldn't it be nice and easy to cut off a few decimals, like a few zeros? So it's 84 over 600. Do you know why I'm doing that? So you don't mess up on the calculator and miss out some zeros. It's 8,400 divided by 60,000. R times. Opposite of times is divide. It doesn't matter that I swap sides. All right, what do you get, girls? Decimal, please. Point. Exactly. No other. Which is what percent? 14% per annum. Mandy borrowed $10,000 to pay for an overseas trip. The principal and 8% per annum simple interest are going to be repaid over 30 months. So she's going to borrow $10,000. Of course, she's got to pay the $10,000 back plus interest. You know, for all we know, she's probably going to pay back about $15,000 altogether. You can see how much interest they've been paying back, like a fair bit, all right? So that's going to be repaid over 30 months, and the repayments will be equal monthly instalments for 30 months. How much is in each instalment? Don't even think about working that out first. Why don't you try and work out how much interest she's going to pay, work out the total that she's got to pay back, and then work out each instalment. Does that make sense? Don't worry, you can't work out the monthly amount first, but you can work out, let's look at the information we've got. What's the $10,000? I, P, R, or N? What's this? 8%. What is it? What is it? R. It's 8% per annum. What is that as a decimal? Yeah, it's 8 over 100 or 0.08. What is the N? N is 30 months. Do I really want it in months, girls? If I'm going to use that formula and R is per annum, the N has to be in years. I know the question's asking about months, but when you use the formula, R and N must be matching time periods. So 30 months, I don't want months. I need it as years. It's 30 divided by 12. It's 2.5 years. Now the interest rate is per year and my time period is in years. You cannot use the simple interest formula if R and N are not matching units. Okay? Now that's what we did last lesson. So, and interest is question mark. Interest is question mark because we don't have it. So, I equals PRN. What have we got? Principal is 10,000. The rate is 0.08 as a decimal, and N is 2.5. What's the interest? Exactly 2,000? So Mandy's borrowed $10,000 to pay for the trip. The interest is $2,000. Tell me how much she ends up paying back to the bank. Yeah, so the total that she repays is 10,000 plus the 2,000. Girls, no one gives you money for nothing. You'll pay the money back and you're going to pay some more back. All right? That's $12,000. Now they're not going to make her pay this in one hit. She's got time to pay it off. How much time? So total repayment. So what do I do with that? That's the total she repays, but she repays it over 30 months in equal monthly instalments. So therefore, each monthly instalment is $12,000 divided by 30. So that $12,000 is going to be paid over 30 months. Do you understand why I'm doing 30 now and not 2.5? Because I want the monthly instalment. What do we get? $400 a month. Okay, so R and N need to be the same units, and it doesn't matter which one you change. So if R is 8% per annum, you know how that's 0.08? You might decide that you want to... R is 8% per annum, which is 0.08 as a decimal. If you want to change that to a monthly interest rate, you just go 0.08 over 12. That's my monthly interest rate per month. And then I could have used N is 30 months as well. So as long as R and N are the same, it doesn't matter if they're both months or both years. They just need to be the same. So isn't interest I equals PRN, which is 10,000 times 0.08 over 12. The reason I'm not simplifying 0.08 over 12, I know it's 2/3, and if I start rounding it off, you're going to get rounding errors, times 30. So could someone please do 10,000 times 0.08 divided by 12 times 30, and you're going to see you get 2,000. Same as before, and then that gets added onto the 10,000, and you end up paying back 12,000 over 30 months. So it doesn't matter if one person changes the R and the other one changes the N. But let me tell you, it's so much easier to change N, which is why we often change N. If you change R and you don't keep it exact, you're going to end up with rounding errors. So where you can, please change please change N, not R. All right? How long does it take for an amount of money to double? That is for the interest earned to equal the principal. If you start with $100 and end up with $200, then you invested $100 and then you earned interest of $100 to end up with $200. All right? So how long does it take for a given amount of money to double in value, that is for the interest earned to equal the principal, if it is invested at an annual simple interest rate of 6% per annum? Easiest way to do this question is just to make up a starting amount, a nice easy starting amount. So let the principal equal, I don't care what you equal. Make it 100 or 1,000 or whatever, 1,000. So the interest will equal 1,000 as well. Does that make sense? Your money's going to double. You start with 1,000, you're going to end up with 2,000. If you end up with 2,000, then you've earned 1,000 interest. So if we just let principal equal any amount of money, say 1,000, and you want to double your money, you're going to end up with 2,000. You've got your original 1,000 plus $1,000 interest that you earned. All right? What's the interest rate? 6% per annum, which is 6 over 100, which is 0.06. And N is what you're trying to find, it's question mark. So let's go. I equals PRN. If the interest is 1,000, the principal is 1,000, times the rate is 0.06 times N. All right, what do you get? What should you multiply? 1,000 times 0.06 is 60 times N. How do I find N? Divide by, you're dividing both sides by 60. What's 1,000 divided by 60? 16.6 recurring. No. 16.6 recurring is an exact value. What's 0.6 recurring? 2/3. And 16 and 2/3 years, and you can give it to me in years and months. What's 2/3 of a year? What's a third of a year? How many months in a year? A third of a year is a month. Girls, this is time. 16.6 recurring years. 0.6 recurring is 2/3. So it's 16 years, 8 months. Because every third of a year, if you break a year up into thirds, it's 4 months.